This video is over looking at set designs. When a set designer is trying to communicate what the scenery will look like, he or she has the option of using a rendering or a model. And in this Venn diagram, we can see how renderings and models are alike and different. A rendering is a two-dimensional image that is easy to manipulate, meaning it isn't always 100% accurate. It is an image of one moment in time frozen. Whereas models are three-dimensional, which means they are more accurate and it is easier to see what the stage will look like from different points of view. You can also suggest lighting and show scene changes by moving pieces around. Both are intended to communicate ideas visually so that the director and producer can actually see what the finished product will look like ahead of time. Here we have a very rough paper model of the initial design for Wicked. This is a paper model showing the moving parts of the set and in a very small scale. The final model will be more detailed and larger. This paper model or white model serves as a way to communicate ideas during the process of arriving at the final design and is itself not complete. What type of theater space is this? If you said proscenium, you are correct. There is a stylized proscenium that separates the action from the audience. Here's an example of the production model, which is detailed and three-dimensional. This model shows the director and the scene shop what the final product will be like. Here we have some images from the complete set, which you can see are very like the production model, but with the additional magic of the lights. Notice the green archway in the middle of the set, where the designer, Eugene Lee, has created a proscenium arch within the larger proscenium that is covered in cogs and platforms. This is the finished product as viewed from the house. Notice the grand drape, which is usually a curtain, is made to look like a map. The outer proscenium with the dragon can be easily seen. The Lion King. The Lion King scenery was designed by Richard Hudson, and here we see an example of a model showing several figures and a configuration of scenery that gives us a sense of depth by using perspective. Each layer of scenery gets smaller so as to appear farther away. To either side, you can see the suggestion of a proscenium. Most Broadway theaters are proscenium spaces. Here we see a scene that features the rising sun. Notice the clever way they use fabric and fly lines to pull the sun up. Imagine window blinds that are compressed and then pulled down, or in this case, up. In the background is a cyclorama, a large piece of fabric that has been stretched tight upstage of the scenery. Different colored lights on the surface essentially dye it in a different color, making for a very convincing sunrise. Also notice the use of color theory in this image. Blue and orange are complementary colors, or opposites on the color wheel. This shows the contrast between the nighttime lighting, which is blue, and the sunrise, which is orange. In this image, we see the same complementary color scheme, with the warmer figures of the animals popping against the intense blue sky. Something interesting to notice about this scenery: the platform that the lions are standing on rises out of the floor and can be twisted down until it is level with the floor, making it seamlessly flat. For Broadway shows such as this, a lot of engineering and mechanics goes into the magic. Moving along, here we have a very popular musical, which was recently made into a movie, Cats. What you're looking at is the model from above. So it is three-dimensional and detailed, showing what the set is constructed out of, which is mostly garbage. While the other sets we have looked at use different scenic elements for the various scenes, this is a unit set. That means most or all of the action happens in one location. This is the final model with lights, from the balcony point of view. The floor can be best seen from this vantage point. The balcony is the highest seating area overhead, usually at the back of the house. If there is a level in between the floor and the balcony, it is called the mezzanine. Here we have a view from the audience's point of view. Notice the floor is almost invisible to those in the orchestra section, which is the seating section on the floor in the center of the house. Cats is an example of non-realism, meaning it does not reflect reality. Cats do not sing and dance in real life, so this is an example of personification, giving human qualities to a non-human character. Finally, in contrast, we have sheer madness, which is an example of realism. This is an actual location that could exist in the real world, with characters and situations that are familiar to us. What style of theater is this? As you can see, the stage sticks out in the audience, which is seated on multiple sides. We are in a thrust space in a beauty parlor. Notice that because it is a thrust space, most of the scene elements are upstage to facilitate the view of the audience. Vocabulary recap. Look at all we learned today. This has been Looking at Set Designs. The end.